about you're here. We're trying to do something, and we just need to do a little more. So the very next day, I ended up being Rosa's guide around and took care of her for the weekend. And we went out, and there were 1,000 activists from all over the country and some from Mexico, other places. And they had about 350 children with them. And there sat this frail but strong black woman up against one single mic on the stage that was made for a touring company of dancers or something, sitting there talking to these 350 children of social activists, saying, once you experience justice, once you experience being honored, once you experience respect, you'll never give it up. Never give it up. And after that was over, I stood there with all their group, hand over hand in the old 60s style. Rosa Parks on one side, Bernice Regan on the other. She was a leader in the education against Jim Crow, and we sang together. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey in the rock, honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child of God. Try it now. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey in the rock. Oh, there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child of God. Honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey in the rock. Oh, there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child of God. Oh, the tallest tree in paradise. Feed every child of God. Oh, the people call it the tree of life. Feed every child of God. And there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock, honey in the rock, honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed every child of God. I'm trying to figure out where we're going next. Oh, I want to share this, another Larry Long song. Back, well, it was his grandmother's story, so 3 generations ago. Larry's about my age, I'm 77, so however far back you want to look, there was, in farm country, particularly through the Midwest, Iowa areas, there was a thing called the penny sale. And whenever, you remember the penny sales?
I'm not that old.
Well, no, you remember of them, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. And it's happening again now. There's a push for farmers to take loans. One bad year with no crops, and you're in serious trouble. 2 years, and you're off the farm, and it's up for auction. And what they used to do was they used to, when there was going to be a penny sale, one of their neighbors, they'd come and they'd keep the buyers away from the auctioneer, and they'd bid a nickel, a quarter, a dime, a penny. And in those days, the auctioneers weren't prepared for that, so they'd pay $20, buy the farm back, and give it back to the people without the debt on it, And people can be real ingenious in a good way sometimes too, I think. Grandma was born and raised on a farm in Iowa. I was young, she would pray for those who worked the soil. The oldest one of 7 kids helped her ma raise each of them, sucking corn and slapping pigs, chickens in the yard. Carrying water from the well into 5-gallon pails, wearing out a well-worn trail to the kitchen door. Give a prayer tonight for the farmer, give a of thanks for their labor. Days of drought, sleet, and hail, Grandma would often tell me about the penny sale that saved the family farm. Friends and neighbors gathered round, the buyers who came from town, and peacefully they stripped them down, naked in the barn. Upon a bale of hay they sat, nothing on but their hats. I can still hear Grandma laugh, speaking of those times. Give a prayer tonight for the farmer. Give a word of thanks for their labor. Standing by the auction man, taking bids on her land, Grandma looked down at her hands, drier than the soil. Penny here and nickel there, celebration filled the air. They won it with a penny's fail. Give a prayer tonight for the farmer. Give a word of thanks for their labor. Yesterday I read the news about a family farmer who was told that he might lose the title to his land. Like this story told, friends came to his home and they stopped it from being sold with a penny sale. Give a prayer tonight for the farmer. Give a word of thanks for their labor. When I lay the paper down, thoughts of Grandma circled round and filled me with that peaceful sound of her voice again. Give a prayer tonight for the farmer. Give a word of thanks for their labor. Give a prayer tonight for the farmer.